I will take away your beauty so that no rich man will ever consider marrying you.
Her wicked stepmother and stepsisters treated her like a maid, until a rich man chose her. But instead of accepting it, they planned evil against her behind closed doors, determined to ruin her future before she could escape. What happened next exposed their wickedness, shocked the entire village, and delivered a lesson no one saw coming. Stay with me till the end. Adama was 19 years old, yet she lived like someone who had no value. She was the last daughter of her father Owusu, a respected hunter in the village. Owusu had married 2 wives in his lifetime, but Adama's mother, the second wife, died while giving birth to her. Since that day, Adama's life had never been simple. She grew up under the care of her stepmother Veronica and her 3 stepsisters, Abina, Acua, and Helena. From childhood, Adama tried to earn their love. She greeted them properly, spoke with respect, and offered help even when no one asked her. But kindness did not soften their hearts. It only made them treat her as weak. Now that she was older, the hatred had matured into cruelty. To the outside world, Adama looked like a blessed young woman. She was beautiful, intelligent, and calm. People praised her without hesitation. But inside the walls of her father's home, she was treated like a burden. Her sisters called her angel, not as praise but as an insult. In their dialect it meant ugly. They said it with laughter and looked at her with satisfaction whenever her eyes dropped in shame. That evening, Owusu returned from hunting and found Adama cleaning the compound quietly. He sat outside tired but calm. "Adama," he called. She rushed to him and knelt properly. "Welcome, father. How was your day?" Owusu smiled. "Come and sit with me." Adama sat beside him respectfully. Owusu offered her a piece of roasted meat from his bag. "Eat," he said. "You have been working." Adama hesitated. "Thank you, father." As she ate, Owusu spoke softly. "You are growing into a responsible woman. One day, you will have your own home and peace." Adama nodded, but her eyes were distant. Owusu noticed. "Tell me the truth. Are you unhappy?" Adama forced a small smile. "No, father. I am fine." Owusu held her hand. "You do not need to lie to me. I know what happens when I am away." Adama's throat tightened, but she said nothing. She did not want to cause conflict. From behind the doorway, Veronica watched them. Abina and Acua also watched with silent envy. They hated the bond between Owusu and Adama, because it reminded them of what they lacked. And that night, while Adama rested, they decided again that she would never enjoy happiness for long. By the time Adama turned 20, she had grown used to working without appreciation. Her life moved in a strict routine: chores, silence, obedience, and endurance. Even when her body was tired, she kept going, because she believed peace was better than arguments. Owusu remained the only person who spoke to her with genuine kindness. Every evening after hunting, he sat outside, calling Adama to come and spend a little time with him. That night, Owusu returned earlier than usual. He found Adama in the kitchen stirring soup while her sisters sat nearby doing nothing. "Adama," he said calmly. "Come and sit." She wiped her hands and joined him outside. Owusu looked at her carefully. "You are 20 now. Have you thought about what you want for your future?" Adama lowered her eyes. "I do not know, father." Owusu leaned forward. "You do know. You are only afraid to speak it." Adama hesitated, then said quietly, "I want peace. I want a life where I am not treated like I am unwanted." Owusu's face tightened with pain. "You are wanted. You are my daughter." Adama nodded. "I know, father. But when you are not here, the house becomes different." Owusu stayed silent for a moment, then said, "I will handle it." The next day, a village teacher came to greet Owusu. After talking briefly, the teacher looked at Adama. "Owusu," the man said, "your daughter is intelligent. She would have gone far in school if she had full support." Owusu's eyes brightened. You heard that, Adama. You are not ordinary. Adama smiled politely, but Veronica's expression became cold. After the teacher left, Veronica approached Adama with a controlled voice. Do not start imagining yourself as someone important, Veronica said. Adama replied calmly. I am not imagining anything, Mama Veronica. Veronica narrowed her eyes. Listen carefully. The moment a person begins to rise, people will begin to test them. Do not forget you are still under my roof. That night, Abina whispered to Aqua, Father's love is making her bold. Aqua answered, It is time she learns her place. Helena heard them but stayed quiet, as if she feared what was coming. Adama felt the tension growing, but she did not understand how dangerous it was becoming. She only prayed quietly that one day, the hatred in the house would end. When Adama turned 21, her stepmother and sisters did not celebrate her birthday. No greeting, no smile, no kindness. It was treated like an ordinary day, except the workload became heavier. That morning, Owusu left early for hunting. Before stepping out, he spoke gently. Be careful today, he told Adama. Avoid trouble. Adama nodded. Yes, father. As soon as Owusu disappeared from view, Veronica's voice became sharp. Adama, come here. Adama walked quickly to her stepmother. Veronica pointed to a pile of dirty clothes. Wash everything. After that, cook. Then fetch water from the stream. You will also clean the rooms. Do not waste time. Adama answered. Yes, Mama Veronica. She began washing the clothes. Her hands scrubbed until they ached, but she continued. When she finished, she laid the clothes neatly to dry. Abina walked over slowly, holding a small bowl of dust and dry leaves. You did not wash well, Abina said. Adama replied calmly. I washed them carefully. Abina tilted the bowl, letting the dust fall onto the clean clothes. Now wash again, Abina said. Adama stared at her, shocked. Why are you doing this? Aqua stepped closer, her expression cold. Because you talk too much. Adama wanted to cry, but she held it back and started again. Later she cooked food, served everyone, and waited for her portion. But when she went back to the pot, it was almost empty. Veronica looked at her with no remorse. If you are hungry, manage yourself, Veronica said. Adama's stomach tightened. She drank water quietly and returned to work. By afternoon, Veronica sent her to fetch water. On the path, Adama walked alone, her container heavy, her heart heavier. She watched other girls laughing together with their sisters and friends. She whispered to herself, Why is my home the only place I feel unwanted? When she returned, Veronica saw her resting briefly and spoke harshly. Stand up, Veronica ordered. You sit like someone who is loved here. Adama stood immediately, swallowing her pain. That night, Owusu returned and found Adama unusually quiet. He sat beside her and asked softly, Adama, what is wrong? Adama almost spoke, but she stopped herself. I am fine, father, she lied. But inside she knew one thing. If nothing changed, the cruelty would eventually break her spirit. And she did not know that her escape was already moving toward her. The next morning, Adama woke up before anyone else. Her body still felt sore from the previous day's work, and her stomach was empty. She washed her face quietly and tied her wrapper firmly around her waist so she could move freely. Before she could even enter the kitchen, Veronica's voice cut through the house. Adama. Adama stopped. Yes, Mama Veronica. Veronica pointed toward the corner where the water containers were kept. Go to the stream. Bring water. And do not return slowly. I want to cook early. Adama wanted to say she had not even eaten since yesterday, but she knew better. She picked up the container and started the long walk to the stream. At the stream, other girls were already filling their pots. Some of them greeted Adama kindly, but she could not stay long to talk. She filled her container, balanced it carefully, and began walking back home alone. The water was heavy. Each step felt like a test. Adama kept her eyes on the path, focusing on reaching home without spilling. That was when she saw someone ahead. A young man stood near the narrow part of the road, watching quietly as she approached. He was tall, well-built, and dressed neatly. His face was calm, but his eyes carried interest, as if he had been waiting to see something. As Adama got closer, the man stepped aside politely, giving her space. Then he spoke. "Good morning." Adama stopped briefly. "Good morning." The man smiled slightly. "I have seen you before, but I do not know your name." Adama hesitated. "My name is Adama." The man's expression changed, as if the name confirmed something important in his mind. "And your father?" he asked. Adama's grip tightened around the container straps. She did not like answering too many questions, especially from strangers. But his voice was respectful, not forceful. "My father is Owusu," she said carefully. The man nodded. "Owusu the hunter." "Yes." He took a small step closer, still keeping a respectful distance. "My name is David. I am Kevin's son." Adama had heard of Kevin. Everyone knew his family. David's name was also known in the village. Many girls admired him, and many mothers wished he would choose their daughters. Adama lowered her eyes, feeling uncomfortable. "Thank you for greeting me." David looked at the heavy container. "You seem tired. Let me help you carry it home." Adama's heart skipped. She immediately shook her head. "No," she said firmly. "I can carry it myself." David blinked. "It is not a bad thing. I only want to help." Adama's voice lowered. "Please do not insist." David studied her face. "Why?" Adama took a slow breath. "If I return with a man carrying my water, it will become a problem. People will speak. My sisters will accuse me of things I did not do." David's eyes narrowed in surprise. "They would accuse you for accepting help?" Adama nodded without looking up. "Yes. That is why I prefer to walk alone." David's chest tightened. Something about her words disturbed him. He had seen girls in the village compete for attention, but this girl feared attention like danger. He stepped back and said gently, "Then I will not force you." Adama gave a small nod. "Thank you." She adjusted the container and continued walking. After a few steps, she glanced back and saw David still standing there, watching her with a serious expression. He did not follow her. But in his heart, something had already changed. David stood on the path long after Adama walked away. He watched until her figure disappeared into the distance. He could not explain what he felt, but he knew it was not ordinary attraction. It was deeper. He had seen many beautiful girls in the village, and some had even tried to get close to him. But Adama was different. She carried herself with quiet discipline. Even when she looked tired, she still spoke with respect. Even when she had reason to complain, she remained calm. David turned quickly and started walking home with urgency. When he arrived at his father's compound, he went straight to the private sitting area where Kevin usually rested after speaking with visitors. Kevin was seated, reviewing some farm matters with a man. David waited until the man left, then stepped forward. "Father," David said. Kevin looked up. "You came back early. Is everything fine?" David hesitated. His heart was beating fast, but he forced his voice to remain steady. "I have found the woman I want to marry." Kevin paused completely. He stared at his son as if he did not hear correctly. "You," Kevin said slowly. "You want to marry?" David nodded. "Yes." Kevin leaned back. "David, you have refused every suggestion I made. You have rejected introductions. You have avoided marriage discussions for years. What changed today?" David answered with confidence. "I met her." Kevin's eyes narrowed. "Who is she?" "Her name is Adama," David replied. "She is Owusu's daughter." Kevin raised his eyebrows. "Owusu the hunter. The man with 2 wives." "Yes, father." Kevin remained silent for a moment. Then he spoke carefully. David, do you know what you are saying? A man does not marry because a woman is beautiful. Beauty fades. Marriage remains. David stepped closer. I understand. That is why I am sure. She is not only beautiful. She is composed, respectful, and disciplined. She carried heavy water alone and refused my help because she feared trouble from her own household. Kevin's face changed slightly. Her own household. David nodded. She said her sisters would accuse her if she returned with a man helping her. Father, that is not normal. Kevin's expression became serious. It means there is bitterness in that home. David lowered his voice. I could see it in her eyes. She is suffering, but she carries it quietly. Kevin studied his son carefully. He saw something he rarely saw in David. Emotion mixed with determination. You seem serious, Kevin said. I am, David replied. I want to marry her properly. I want to go to her father with respect and speak openly. I want to take her away from any harm. Kevin nodded slowly. If you are making this decision, then we will do it wisely. David waited. Kevin continued. We will not rush blindly. I will send someone to learn more about her character and her situation. Then we will visit Owusu in 3 market days. David's eyes brightened. Thank you, Father. Kevin lifted a finger. One more thing, David. If you bring her into this family, you must protect her. Marriage is not just romance. It is responsibility. David nodded firmly. I will protect her. Kevin stood up. Then prepare yourself. In 3 market days we will speak officially. David stepped out of the sitting area, breathing as if a burden had been lifted. For the first time in his life, he was not running away from marriage. He was running toward it. 3 market days passed quickly. During that time, Adama continued her daily work without knowing that her life was about to change. Veronica became unusually watchful, observing Adama's movements and listening closely whenever visitors passed near the compound. On the morning Kevin and David planned to visit, Owusu returned early from hunting. He cleaned himself and sat outside to rest, unaware that an important conversation was about to take place. Not long after, Kevin and David arrived. They greeted Owusu respectfully and took their seats. Adama was in the kitchen, stirring food quietly, when she heard unfamiliar voices. She peeped through the doorway and saw David seated beside his father. Her heart tightened, but she quickly returned to her cooking. After exchanging greetings, Kevin spoke clearly and calmly. Owusu, we have come with good intentions. My son David has seen your daughter Adama, and after careful thought, he wishes to marry her. Owusu's eyes widened. He turned slowly toward David, then smiled. This is unexpected, Owusu said. But I am pleased to hear it. He called out, Adama, come here. Adama wiped her hands nervously and stepped outside. She stood quietly, her head lowered. David stood up respectfully. Adama, I have spoken with my father. I want to marry you and take responsibility for you. Adama's chest felt tight. She did not speak immediately. She glanced at her father, who nodded gently. I agree, she said softly. Owusu felt joy rise in his heart. He turned to Kevin. You have my permission to proceed properly. Behind the kitchen wall, Abina was listening. The moment she confirmed what she heard, anger flooded her. She rushed to find Akua and Veronica. David wants to marry Adama, Abina whispered sharply. It is true. Akua's face hardened. Impossible. He has never looked at her before. Veronica clenched her teeth. So this is what she has been planning. That evening, the atmosphere in the house changed completely. Veronica behaved kindly toward Adama in Owusu's presence, but her tone became sharp once he stepped away. You should not think this means anything yet, Veronica told Adama quietly. Many proposals fail. Abina cornered Adama near the cooking area. You think you have won, Abina said. Do not celebrate too early. Akua added. Men change their minds easily. Helena watched from a distance, troubled but silent. Later that night, Veronica gathered her daughters. "We cannot allow this marriage," she said firmly. "If Adama leaves this house in honor, it will shame us." Abina's eyes burned with anger. "Then we must act before tomorrow." Akua nodded slowly. "If she becomes damaged, David will reject her." Helena looked up sharply. "What are you planning?" Veronica ignored her. "We will handle it quietly," she said. "No one must know." Helena stood up. "I want no part of this." She walked out of the room, leaving the others staring after her. Outside, Helena made a decision that would change everything. The next day, Veronica's house was filled with tension. Adama did not fully understand what had changed, but she felt it in the way her sisters looked at her. Their eyes were sharper, their smiles more forced, and their whispers more frequent. Owusu remained calm and happy. He spoke openly about the coming marriage, proudly telling a few visitors that his daughter would soon enter a good home. Each time he spoke, Veronica's bitterness deepened. That morning, Adama was ordered to do even more work than usual. Veronica stood in the doorway and gave her instructions like a commander. "You will wash all the cooking pots, clean the sleeping rooms, and fetch water twice today," she said. "You must also prepare a proper meal before evening." Adama nodded and moved quickly. She did not complain. She wanted peace, and she believed hard work would keep her away from conflict. But her sisters did not want peace. Abina followed Adama around the house like a shadow. Whenever Adama finished a task, Abina found a way to create another burden. When Adama washed the plates, Abina dropped one and blamed her. When Adama swept the floor, Akua deliberately poured dried leaves in the corner and pointed at it. "Do you want father to see this dirt?" Akua asked coldly. Adama simply picked up the leaves and swept again. By afternoon, hunger weakened her body. She had not eaten properly since the marriage news began. She tried to drink water to calm her stomach, but it was not enough. Helena watched Adama quietly. Unlike Abina and Akua, Helena looked disturbed. She noticed how Adama moved slowly now, and how her face looked pale. When she found Adama behind the kitchen coughing softly, Helena's conscience finally woke up. "You are not well," Helena said. Adama tried to smile. "I am fine." Helena shook her head. "You are lying." Adama lowered her eyes. "If I say I am sick, they will say I am pretending." Helena remained silent for a moment, then spoke carefully. "I will bring something that can help you." Adama looked up. "Why?" Helena's voice lowered. "Because not everything they do is right." That evening, Helena left the compound quietly. She went to meet Kojo, the young man who had been secretly courting her. She explained that she wanted to buy herbs for Adama. Kojo hesitated. "If your family finds out you helped her, they will turn against you." Helena replied. "They already do things behind her back. I cannot watch it anymore." Kojo agreed to go with her. Meanwhile, inside the house, Abina and Akua were planning something darker. They sat with Veronica after Owusu went to sleep, their faces tense and serious. "She must not marry David," Abina said firmly. "If she leaves this house with honor, everyone will praise her and mock us." Akua nodded. "Even father will love her more." Veronica's eyes narrowed. "So what do you suggest?" Abina leaned forward. "We should damage her tonight." Akua added. "If she is injured, David will not proceed with the marriage rites tomorrow." Veronica did not stop them. She only gave one warning. "Do it quietly," she said. "And do not wake Owusu." Abina and Akua exchanged looks. That night, while Adama finally slept from exhaustion, her sisters prepared the most wicked plan of their lives. Late that night, Veronica's compound was quiet. Owusu was asleep in his room after a long day. Adama lay on her small sleeping mat, exhausted. Her body ached and her mind felt heavy, but sleep came quickly because she had no strength left to stay awake. In another room, Abina and Akua moved carefully like people carrying secrets. Abina whispered, "This is our only chance. David is coming tomorrow. If we delay, it will be too late." Akua nodded. "If she screams, we must pretend we know nothing." They stepped into the kitchen, lit a small lamp, and filled a metal pot with water. As the fire heated up, the two sisters stood close, watching the water with cold patience. Abina's voice remained low. "If she becomes injured, father will feel pity, but David will not marry her." Akua replied, "He will not want a wife with wounds. People will talk." When the water began to boil, they removed it carefully and looked at each other. "Let us go," Abina said. They carried the pot slowly, trying not to make noise. The house was dark, and the only light came from the small lamp Akua held close to her chest. They reached the door of Adama's room. Abina pressed her ear against it for a moment. "She is asleep," she whispered. Akua nodded. They pushed the door open gently and slipped inside. The room was completely dark. They could not see clearly, but they knew where Adama usually slept. Abina lifted the pot slightly, and Akua held her breath. "Now," Abina said. They tilted the pot and poured the boiling water onto the bed area where they assumed Adama was lying. The result was immediate. A sharp scream filled the room. Then another scream followed. Abina and Akua froze. Their blood ran cold. "That is not her voice," Akua whispered, terrified. But before they could think properly, two people began shouting in pain and moving wildly in the darkness. Abina grabbed Akua's arm. "Run," she whispered urgently. They rushed out of the room, nearly falling over each other. They ran down the corridor in panic, not caring who heard them. As they turned a corner, they suddenly collided with someone standing near the kitchen entrance. It was Adama. She staggered back from the impact, holding a small bundle of herbs in her hand. Her eyes widened in shock. "Abina. Akua?" she asked, confused. "What are you doing?" Abina and Akua stared at her as if they were seeing a ghost. Akua's lips trembled. You were not in your room." Adama frowned. "I went outside to wash the herbs Helena brought for me earlier. Came back to dry them." "Why are you running?" Abina's face turned pale. She could not answer. At that moment, another sound came from Adama's room. Two people burst out, screaming in pain and holding their bodies in agony. It was Helena. And beside her it was Kojo. Helena shouted, "My skin is burning." Kojo groaned, "Help me. Help me." Adama dropped the herbs immediately. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Abina and Akua began to cry and shout loudly, drawing attention. They had meant to destroy Adama. But instead, they had poured boiling water on their own sister and her secret boyfriend. And in that instant, their wickedness turned into disaster. The screams from Helena and Kojo woke the entire compound. Doors opened quickly, and footsteps rushed into the corridor. Veronica was the first to run out, tying her wrapper tightly around her waist. "What is happening?" she demanded. Helena stumbled forward, shaking, her skin red from the hot water. Kojo was holding his arm tightly, breathing heavily. Both of them looked confused and frightened, as if they could not believe what had just happened. Adama stood frozen, staring at them. Abina and Akua were already crying loudly, drawing more attention than the incident itself. Veronica rushed toward Helena. "Who did this to you?" Helena looked around and saw Abina and Akua. Her eyes narrowed. "Ask them," Helena said weakly. They came into Adama's room. Veronica's face changed immediately. She turned sharply to Abina and Akua. "What did you do?" she asked. Abina cried harder. "We made a mistake." Akua shook her head, sobbing. "We thought she was there." Veronica's heart sank. The words were too clear to hide. Even before Owusu arrived, the truth had already exposed itself. Owusu entered the corridor with anger written on his face. He looked from Helena to Kojo, then to the boiling pot still near Adama's door, and finally to Abina and Acua. "Explain yourselves," he commanded. Abina tried to kneel, pretending to beg. "Father, we did not mean to hurt Helena." Wusu's voice became louder. "You did not mean to hurt Helena, yet you carried boiling water into Adama's room at night. What did you plan to do?" Abina's mouth opened, but no answer came out. Acua sniffed loudly. "We thought Adama was asleep there." Owusu raised his hand sharply. "So you planned to pour boiling water on Adama?" The corridor became silent. Veronica tried to step forward. "Owusu, please calm down. They are young." They panicked. Owusu turned to her. "Do not defend wickedness. If you knew, you are part of it." Veronica stepped back, shocked. Adama's eyes filled with tears, not only because she could have been harmed, but because her sisters truly wanted to destroy her. Her mouth trembled. "Why?" she whispered. "What have I done to deserve this?" Abina avoided her eyes. Acua kept crying, but Adama could not tell if it was regret or fear of punishment. Soon, neighbors began to arrive after hearing noise and shouting. Someone ran to inform elders. Others whispered outside the compound gate. "Did you hear what happened in Owusu's house? They poured boiling water on their own sister. They meant to harm Adama, but they failed." Even Kojo's family heard the news. They arrived quickly, furious and embarrassed. Kojo was a young man, and being found in a girl's room at night was already shameful, even without injury. Kojo's uncle faced Owusu. "This disgrace must not be ignored." Owusu nodded firmly. "I will not ignore it." He turned to Abina and Acua with disappointment burning in his eyes. "You have brought shame into my home," he said. "You wanted to destroy your sister because she is loved and chosen. This is not the behavior of daughters I raised." That morning the village spoke of nothing else. And before noon the news reached David. The moment he heard it, his decision became urgent. He knew Adama was no longer safe. David heard the news early that morning. He was walking with his father's messenger when two village boys ran past them, speaking loudly about what happened in Owusu's compound. The messenger stopped them and asked questions. Within minutes, David knew everything. Abina and Acua had entered Adama's room at night with boiling water. They had intended to harm her. But the water landed on Helena and Kojo instead. After they sneaked to Adama's room to have an affair, David stood still, his jaw tight. He did not waste time asking for more details. He turned and ran home immediately. Kevin was seated outside when David arrived. "Father," David said with urgency, "we must go to Owusu's house now." Kevin frowned. "What happened?" David explained everything quickly. Kevin's face hardened as he listened. When David finished, Kevin stood up without delay. "This is no longer ordinary jealousy," Kevin said. "This is attempted harm." They gathered elders and gifts at once. Before midday, they arrived at Owusu's compound. The atmosphere was tense. Neighbors still whispered outside the gate. Helena sat quietly, her skin treated with herbs, her eyes filled with shame. Kojo remained seated near the entrance with his family. Owusu greeted Kevin, but his face carried disappointment and pain. Kevin spoke respectfully. "Owusu, we heard what happened. We are here because we do not want evil to touch Adama again." Owusu nodded slowly. "You have spoken well." David stepped forward and looked directly at Owusu. "Sir, I want to complete the marriage process now. I want Adama to leave this house today and come under my protection." Owusu turned and called Adama outside. When she came, her eyes were swollen, and her face looked tired from sleeplessness. David's heart tightened. Owusu spoke gently to her. "My daughter, forgive me. I did not know they could go this far." Adama nodded quietly. "Father, you did not cause it." Kevin and the elders presented the marriage gifts properly. There was no confusion and no delay. The traditional rites were completed quickly, and Owusu placed Adama's hand into David's hand. "Protect her," Owusu told David firmly. David replied, "I will, sir." Veronica and the sisters stood at a distance, watching. Abina and Akua could not lift their faces. Their plan had failed, but their shame had become public. Kojo's family demanded compensation for his injuries and the disgrace of the situation. The elders agreed, and Owusu ordered Abina and Akua to take responsibility. That was the final blow. They tried to destroy Adama, but they ended up suffering disgrace and punishment instead. Adama prepared to leave with David. Before stepping out of the compound, she turned back and looked at her sisters. "I did not wish you evil," she said calmly. "But I will no longer accept cruelty in silence." Then she walked away beside David, leaving the house that had once been her prison. As the village watched her go, people spoke quietly among themselves. The girl they called Angel had been the true blessing, and those who planned evil had met their own reward. Evil always returns to the one who sends it. Treat others with fairness and kindness, so peace can remain in every home. After the traditional marriage rites were completed, the compound did not return to peace. Adama had officially become David's wife by custom, and the elders had confirmed it. Many people believed that was the end of the matter, and that Adama would quietly leave the pain of her past behind her. But Kevin had another plan. He stood before Owusu and the elders and spoke with pride. "Owusu, the traditional rites have been completed properly," Kevin said. "But I want more than that for my son. I want David and Adama to have a public wedding, so the whole community can celebrate them." Owusu's face brightened immediately. "That will be an honor," he replied. "My daughter deserves joy after everything she has endured." Adama stood calmly beside David, her hands folded, her eyes still soft from recent pain. David looked at her with quiet assurance, as if promising her that nothing would ever harm her again. But across the compound, Veronica's heart burned. Abina and Akua were not even trying to hide their anger anymore. Their faces were tight, their eyes sharp, and their bodies stiff with resentment. Helena, however, did not share their rage. Her skin still carried the memory of the hot water incident, and her shame had humbled her. She kept looking at Adama, not with hatred but with regret. That evening, Veronica gathered Abina and Akua. "She thinks she has escaped," Veronica said coldly. "She thinks she has won." Abina replied, "She will dance as if she is better than us." Akua added, "We cannot allow her to enjoy this wedding." Veronica's eyes narrowed. "Then we will ruin it publicly." Helena, standing nearby, stepped forward in fear. "Please stop," she said quietly. "You have already caused enough damage." Veronica turned to her sharply. "Keep quiet. You already brought disgrace to this family." Helena lowered her head and walked away, trembling. Days later, the wedding took place at the town square. Villagers gathered in excitement. Elders sat in rows. David stood proudly, and Adama looked radiant, prepared to start a new life. But somewhere in the crowd, Veronica appeared wearing a mask to hide her identity. She carried a small container filled with dirty oil. Her plan was simple: disgrace Adama in front of everyone and ruin the moment forever. She pushed through people quietly, moving closer to Adama. Just as she lifted her hand to spill the oil, a young man from the crowd grabbed her wrist firmly. "What are you doing?" he demanded. Veronica struggled, but the container fell, spilling the dirty oil onto the ground instead. People stepped back in shock. The mask was pulled off, and the entire town square went silent. It was Veronica. Owusu stood up, his face filled with disbelief. "Veronica," he said slowly. "After everything, you still came to destroy my daughter." Veronica tried to speak, but she could not defend herself. Abina and Akua were caught near the side as well, trying to support her plan. The people held them until the police arrived. Within minutes, Veronica, Abina, and Akua were handcuffed. Owusu's chest rose and fell as he looked at them. He was angry, but he was also broken. As the officers prepared to take them away, Owusu stepped forward and spoke with a heavy voice. "Please," he said, "allow them to witness this wedding. Let them see what they tried to destroy." The officers agreed. Veronica, Abina, and Acua were made to stand aside in handcuffs while the wedding continued. They watched helplessly as Adama and David exchanged vows. Then the music began, and the couple danced with smiles that no wickedness could erase. Adama looked at them briefly, then turned away peacefully. She did not insult them. She did not mock them. She simply chose freedom. Moral lesson: never hate someone because of what they carry. Love, favor, and destiny cannot be stolen by jealousy. Those who choose cruelty will eventually face shame, but those who remain patient and upright will be lifted at the right time. Treat people with kindness, because the evil you plan for others can return to you in ways you never expected. As you watch this video to the end, receive these prayers. May the God who sees in secret locate you openly and change your story for good. May every silent tear you have cried become a testimony of joy. May the pain you could not explain be replaced with peace you cannot deny. I pray that every evil plan formed against your life will fail completely. Any trap set for you in darkness, may it be exposed before it touches you. Any hand raised to bring you down, may God arise and defend you with power. May your destiny never be cut short by jealousy, hatred, or wicked intentions. I pray for divine protection over your life and your household. May the Lord surround you like a shield. May you not sleep in fear, and may you not wake up to bad news. Every danger assigned to meet you on your way, may it be diverted and destroyed. I pray that God will lift you out of every place where you are being used, abused, and ignored. If you have been serving people who do not value you, may God separate you from them and connect you to people who will honor you. May God give you helpers who will not be ashamed to stand with you. I pray for divine favor that will locate you suddenly. May doors open for you without struggle. May your name be mentioned in rooms you have never entered. May you receive opportunities you did not qualify for by human standards, but qualify for by God's mercy. I pray that your waiting season will not be wasted. May your patience produce rewards. May your obedience bring promotion. And may your sacrifice bring restoration. Every delay in your life, may it turn into acceleration. I pray for healing over your heart. If betrayal has wounded you, may God heal you completely. If rejection has broken you, may God rebuild you stronger. May you not become bitter. May you not become hopeless. May you rise again with confidence and clarity. Finally, I declare that you will not end in shame. You will not be mocked. You will not be abandoned. You will be celebrated. You will be lifted. You will be favored. And you will walk into peace, honor, and joy. In Jesus' name, amen. If this prayer blessed you, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs encouragement today.